So I'm going to welcome you. This is part of an 8-week training that we uh, will be making available at some point, sometime in the future, and I'm not even sure how or how I'm going to do it yet. But anyway, I want to welcome you guys. This is week 1. I call it the inoculation process, and the problem a lot of times that when we get people involved in network marketing and people see the unbelievable life-altering incomes that are available, a lot of people just think it's going to be simple and easy and everybody's going to want to do it. I mean, I remember when I started, when I first actually understood the concept of residual income, and I can remember when I first joined my first network marketing company when I was 20 years old, and I first joined, I really thought to myself when I started that once people understand these residuals, uh, employers across the world are going to have a problem finding anybody to work for them because everybody's going to want to do this. And once you see it, it's really hard to ever get it out of your blood and out of your system, which many of you know. And that's where I was coming from. And I'm thinking, I will be driving a Porsche. I'll be driving a Porsche in 2 years. I bet I'll be driving a Porsche in a year. You know what? I might even have a Porsche in 6 months. I might have a Porsche in 90 days. This is so awesome. And we've all seen it. Many of us experienced it. People, when they first join, they get into a state, I call it, and you've heard it been called many times, ignorance on fire. They're just fired up. They're just excited, just raw emotion. And ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. And there's some of you tonight, you have all the knowledge in the world, but it's on ice. And here's the deal. Your personal business, how good it is, how bad it is, how challenging it is right now. Wherever your personal business is, it has nothing to do with the opportunity that you can share with other people. The opportunity, the residual income opportunity that the network marketing business model offers stands alone on its own. Just because somebody is doing awesome with a company doesn't mean that that company is the greatest company or has the greatest products in the world. Just because people join a company and fail doesn't mean that that company's terrible. Okay, so the business model stands alone on its own. And that's really important that we understand, because the raw enthusiasm, a lot of times when people first get started, comes from the residual income concept, the idea of not having to work a week, get paid, work a week, get paid, work a week, get paid, and create a really ongoing income stream that pays you over and over and over and over. So that hasn't changed since the day you joined. And see, what happens is we let our personal experience, good or bad, affect our feeling about the business model. We let our personal feelings, good or bad, affect our feeling about the business model. And the first thing I want to communicate tonight is the business model stands alone on its own. Now, I'm going to suggest tonight that you don't take notes. I'm going to give you access to all my overheads and my slides so I wouldn't take notes. I would just hear, and I'll do my best to communicate. And when you're communicating with potential customers and team members, it's okay if they don't buy your story in the beginning. Just make sure you don't buy theirs. Because there's a lot of people out there that are willing to express their opinion about that which they know nothing about. Uh, and we've seen this. I've seen the progression of this over the years. When I first started, the most common objection you would receive is that a pyramid scheme. Okay, because in the 30s and 40s and 50s, there were some Ponzi schemes or pyramid schemes. And so somebody's brother or aunt or uncle or parent may have gotten involved in something and lost their shirt or whatever. Then you saw people, it progressed to people would say, is this like Amway? Because Amway was blowing and going and booming. And maybe some people had been invited to an Amway meeting or home party or whatever. And as you guys know, Amway is the largest company of our kind around the world. And, because of the court cases of the 70s, we're all here today because of the Amway court case. I think it was 1972. But, people, is this Amway? Is this like Amway? And now when you're in the marketplace, they'll say, is this like whatever? I mean, because network marketing is so common, or a lot more common than it once was. People understand that there's a lot of wealthy people that have created their wealth through this business model. And some people perceive it as good, some people perceive it as bad. It doesn't really matter. I believe that if people really understood it, they would all be doing it. I mean, but when you're out there, you're going to run into people that have a negative conception about the industry, and either you're going to buy their story or they're going to buy yours, especially when you first start, because your pendulum is going to swing in the beginning. And again, I'll talk about that in the future training, the pendulum concept. But understand that. And there's a lot of well-meaning dream stealers out there. They're well-meaning. And there's also people that don't want you to leave what I used to call the Great American Box. Today it's the Great Worldwide Box. And they're going to try to talk you out of your decision because, quite frankly, if you're turning off the TV and you're working on growing and developing and having more and becoming more and making more of an impact on other people and your community, and that's your focus, and you're into personal growth, personal development, and you want to move forward, there's a lot of people in your world and in your work environment that you moving ahead, you making the effort, you being on a webinar on a Thursday night when you could be watching reruns of Steinfeld, in their mind, it makes them look bad because you're willing to take action and they would rather sit back and blame other people. So there's two types of people out there. And then you'll have the encouragers. You'll have people that just encourage you. So just understand that when you go in the marketplace, because a lot of times, a lot of encouragers are attracted to the network marketing business model. A lot of people that are naturally, they're encouragers, and they think everybody has that paradigm, that belief to encourage other people. So a lot of encouragers get involved in network marketing and they realize, my gosh, there's a lot of dream stealers out there. There's a lot of people that, they don't want me to get out of the box. And so just understanding that as you go into the market is going to help you a lot to, when you run into those people, just say dream stealer. You don't have to say it directly to them, but you can say it under your breath. I remember back in 90, what year was it? Maybe 90, 91, maybe in that time. I was, I was traveling and marketing a health insurance product to self-employed people. And I'd been doing that about 4 years, and I was traveling throughout the state of Kentucky. I mean, I would be gone sometimes 2 or 3 nights in a row, whatever, and was traveling. And I loved it because I loved hearing the stories of entrepreneurs and how they started their business. And I loved all of that, the people aspect of it. And I had a great product that I believed in. But I was just getting frustrated and maybe looking for something else. And I had a friend of mine, his name was Brad, and we worked together. And I would schedule appointments on Sunday, and I would usually work. I would have 4 or 5 appointments scheduled on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and sometimes Thursday. And then Friday we would drive 2 hours from my home base at the time, which was in Georgetown, Kentucky, to another area, and we would turn in our business for the week. And the 2 or 3 days a week was not a bad deal, but the driving 2 hours to turn in our business got old. 2 hours one way. And we were talking about during the breaks, we would say, I need to do something else. You need to do something else. So what we decided to do was, just start answering ads and sending out resumes and see if we could find something that we could get excited about. And we would usually do it on Thursday. And he was from Louisville, Kentucky, and I was in Georgetown, which is in the Lexington area. And I would, go on interviews on Thursday, and he would go on interviews on Thursday in the Louisville area, and we would come back and forth, and no, I didn't find anything, didn't see anything, looks interesting. And this went on for about a month. And then one day when we were turning in our business, he came, I got to talk to you today. I got to talk to you today. And I said, awesome. So during the break, he said, Dale, I found it. He said, this is phenomenal. And he went on and on and on and on. And he was so fired up and so excited about this company, which I had seen personally 2 years earlier, which was a network marketing company. And I just puked all over him. I said, Brad, I can tell you, I was in that industry for 5 years. That's something we don't want to do, man. That's not, no. And because I was in the direct sales industry at the time, 5 years network marketing, then direct sales 5 years, then back into network marketing. But anyway, I just puked all over him. I just threw water all over him. I rained on his parade with well intentions. Well intentions. I was a well-meaning dream stealer. And I just took the wind right out of his sails. And I wasn't trying to be harsh or mean. I just knew that was not something we wanted to do. And I said, we just got to keep looking. That's not it. Long story short, 2 years later, I get involved with that company. I joined. Brad joined me on my team. True story. So understand when you're in the marketplace, and this is why I try to communicate to people, guys, especially when you first get started and you're launching, all you're doing is planting seeds. That's it. If Brad had went on and done it, then I probably would have ended up joining him. But he let me steal his dream. A well-intentioned dream stealer. Don't let somebody steal your dream. When you're out in the marketplace, the two things that helped me when I was first starting in the beginning to hang in there, when people started, just puking, for lack of a better term, I would always ask myself, do they have what I want? Do they have what I want? And that's a great question to ask yourself. And then the other thing, I don't know where I heard this, but I've never forgotten it. And that is, if 1,000 people say a stupid thing, it's still a stupid thing. And I know my first 3 years, I heard 1,000 people say, was that one of those pyramid schemes? If 1,000 people say a stupid thing, it's still a stupid thing. The reason people fail in this profession, they attempt to make it happen with the skill sets and mindsets they enter the industry with, instead of understanding that new ones are required and can be developed. I would tell every one of you with me tonight that this every skill set, every mindset that you need to become a awesome leader in the network marketing profession, you can develop it. You can develop it. Now, a lot of people, some people can go out and build it with the skill sets and mindsets they entered with, but 97% of the population won't. I think it's better if you're one of the 3% that can build it with the skill sets and mindsets that you enter the industry with, then the major challenge you run into down the road is only 3% of the population can do what you do. Does that make sense? So every one of you listening to me tonight, I talk about this. I believe if you take the population and you sit back and you look at it, you have 70 percenters, 27 percenters, and 3 percenters. 3 percenters are going to do it, and then initially they're going to have problems down the road, but they'll do it initially. 70% of the population is going to die broke. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing your company can do. There's nothing your product can do. They're just going to die broke. 70% of the population. And it's sad, but it's true. And it has nothing to do with anything other than their programming and their belief in themselves. And most people will not take the time to follow the path to alter their programming. And again, early part of 2017, I'm going to really focus on that program that we've taught for years. And if you want to know more, programmingyourmind.com, programmingyourmind.com. But anyway, what profession can you make a six-figure, $250,000 or $300,000 a year income without an education first? The awesome part about network marketing, it gives you the opportunity to learn while you earn. Learn while you earn. It's phenomenal. Education, the correct skill sets, and the correct mindsets are required for long-term financial independence with this business model. It's required. It's not optional. It's not. If you want to, again, develop generational wealth, if you really want to make a huge impact. So I think most people don't really look at it from that perspective. I believe most people look at network marketing more like they would buying a lottery ticket than they do building a real business. So we attract a lot of people that want to build real businesses. And real businesses, I don't care what you're doing, it requires some type of training. Network marketing is a more in-depth, broader training because the real product is people. And again, I'm not going to get into all that tonight. But education is required. Number two, they have unrealistic expectations. Like I did. I convinced myself driving home after I joined that I was going to have a Porsche in 90 days. Okay, so, unrealistic expectations. And it's fascinating to me. It's just fascinating to me that people will spend years working in an environment where somebody else controls their paycheck. They control where their kids go to school. They control when they go out to a restaurant, do they have to look at the right side of the menu first? And it's just fascinating to me that, people will spend their life in those type of environments and not, and then they get involved in network marketing and it's like, Dale, I've been here a year and I'm not making $10,000 a month. I'm gone. I'm gone. And that's why I like to share my story because, again, it took me 5 years to leave my job. It took me 9 years consistent effort, consistent, 5 years part-time, 4 years full-time to get to $92,000 a year. But it went from that to, as I said earlier, 252, 1.1 million. And it was the best decision that I ever made. And when people say the thrill's in the journey, it really is in the journey. If you're not trying to do it with what you enter the industry with. If you're trying to do it with what you came to the industry with, the odds are you're never going to do it. And if you do, you'll never duplicate. So don't have unrealistic expectations. Jim Rohn said, never ask what you're earning, always ask what are you becoming. Man, that's powerful. Never ask what you're earning, always ask what am I becoming. The money will flow. You develop your leadership ability. The world pays for leadership. Money flows to leadership. The world pays for leadership. Leadership is the highest paid profession in the world. You are in the leadership development business, but you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you get on YouTube and call yourself a blah, 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 because some greedy, ignorant guru told you to, and act like an idiot. You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Promised I was going to be really calm tonight. Third reason people fail in network marketing is the investment to enter is too low. Anybody can get involved. It's not like you have to spend, 40, 50, 60,000 or even 400,000 or 500,000 or more for a franchise. The investment's too low. So we just have to understand that. And I'm glad it is, because if it was much more than it was, I spent $300 when I started as a 20-year-old kid. I had it saved. I spent $300. If it had been $3,000 or $30,000 or $300,000, I probably never would have been able to join. But I got in for $300. And I never spent one nickel that wasn't profits since that day. I spent $300 to start. But my first 3 years, every commission check I received went right back into personal growth and marketing. Every commission check. I lived off of my regular job and paid my bills. But I was working mentally full-time in my mind on building a business. And, I remember the first time I received a check for over $500, and I'm thinking, my gracious, I got over $500. But what did I do with it? It went into my checking account, my business checking account, and it was set aside. I did distributor promotions, contest, advertising, personal development. Paid for me to go to my company's conventions or events, Super Saturdays, because everything. So again, I understand most people are not willing to do that, but that's what I did. And the reason a lot of people don't, hobbies are supposed to cost you money. And a lot of people treat the business like a hobby. And again, hobbies are supposed to cost you money. So it's hard to treat your business like a multi-million-dollar opportunity when you got involved for $300. But you have to, because that's what you have in front of you. It's unbelievable. You don't have to worry about manufacturing. You don't have to worry about shipping products. You don't have to worry about all the government regulations. You don't have to worry about workman's comp and everything that your home office has already taken care of for you. All you have to master is how to get the product in the marketplace, create customers, and then how to build a team of people. Focus on that. That's what you have to get good at. Everything else is taken care of for you. It's unbelievable. Number four, a lot of people get involved and they never decide why. They don't really know if they're just here to make a little extra money or if they want to build a real business. If you've ever been through any of my training at any point, at any time, you've always heard me say, until you know why, the how doesn't matter. And that's the first thing we suggest, that we teach, that you have your new people do. That's number one. It's number one. It always will be number one. It's never going to change. That's the most important thing you can do when you sponsor a new person, is to help them establish why they're doing the business. And there's probably many of you tonight, this is your first ever webinar, but the person that sponsored you into your program, one of the first things they did was ask you to figure out why you're doing it. And some of you saying, yeah, that's right, Dale. That's exactly what they asked me to do. That was the first thing they said. They wanted me to come up with 20 reasons I was doing it, and then my top 3, and that's the first thing they asked me to do. And I know some of you are thinking that tonight. And for those of you that are, count your blessings, because you have an upline. You have somebody that's working with you that sincerely gets what this business is all about, and that's developing and working with and helping other people. And you should be very thankful for that, extremely thankful for that. Number 5, they never schedule time for the business. They're going to do it when they get around to it, and life is too busy. They never get around to it. They don't schedule time for their business. And I believe that when you're part-time, you have to schedule your business. And I have a webinar at MLMhelp.com just about time management for network marketers. I don't have the link there. And then the other thing I just kind of added on to this, they never officially launch their business. And I talk about that in great detail. How do you launch your business? DaleCalvert.com/sponsor more. And if you're brand new and you're listening tonight and you're thinking, my gracious, that's what my upline, that's what my leader's been talking to me about. We got to get this business launched. Maybe they know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing, because the alternative is go sick them. If you need any help, you just let me know. Go sick them training program. But you have somebody that's really trying to work with you, help you, and you need to be thankful for that, and you need to get plugged into what they're teaching you and what they're sharing with you, because a wise person learns from their own mistakes, but a really wise person learns from the mistakes of others. Number 6, they set aside no personal education time to study the right information. They sporadically listen to people a lot of times that they've never asked themselves, who is this person and why should I be listening to them? I did it too, guys. I mean, I did. I've done it, and I know better. And earlier I said, if there's one thing I want you to remember, this is what it is. This would be the second thing. If you don't remember anything, remember this. The first thing was, everybody on this webinar, you can develop the skill sets and the mindsets necessary for you to achieve whatever you choose to achieve with this business model. I believe that because I've lived it. I've experienced it personally, but I've seen so many other people who have experienced it. So many people. The second most important thing I can share with you is get really good. Master the 5 core fundamentals of this business, and you will accomplish more than 99.9999% of the people that ever enter the industry, and you will maximize your personal success. Your personal success. You will maximize it. You will achieve all you can achieve at the highest level if you just focus on the 5 core fundamentals and get so good at that. Just get great at that. And you're going to be so far ahead of the game. And if you've not seen DaleCalvert.com/core, I cannot recommend that webinar highly enough. I can't, because that's what we get into. We spend time there in the core fundamentals. You get good at that, guys. Everybody's looking for the foo-foo dust. It's amazing. It's amazing. Number 7, a lot of people expect to fail. And that's sad. I've seen people that are doing awesome, coming down the road, getting better, making money, having fun, enjoying life, enjoying the travel, and just self-destruct. Self-destruct. I've seen it. Good people. And it's because what happens for some people is their reality so far surpasses their expectation that they self-destruct. And a lot of times it doesn't even have to do with the money they're making. It's just the relationships and the friendships that they're developing. And then when when they start making a lot more than they ever anticipated, if they're not growing their mind and growing their expectations and what's possible for them, they will self-destruct, guys. That's why most people, and you've seen the research on this, most people that win the lottery within 5 years are worse off than they were the day they won the lottery. Now think about that. They won the lottery. They'll self-destruct. So that's why we talk as much about mindsets as we do skill sets, because all the marketing hacks and all the ways to generate leads, all that's important. But if you don't have the mindsets that accompany that, those skill sets, then your success will be limited, or you'll get down the road and your reality will be so far surpass what you ever anticipated that you self-destruct. So you got to get your mind right as well as the skill sets. It's a combination of both. Again, this is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. And I understand 99% of the quote-unquote gurus are trying to teach systems and all this other stuff, lead systems and how to do this and how to do that. And it's just, you got to have a balance. It's got to be both. 8, the 8th reason people fail is they're just confused. They follow those that they perceive to be leaders, or those that tell them what they want to hear. They believed in the foo-foo dust and they end up drinking the Kool-Aid, and that's kind of insider terms. I apologize for new people. Kool-Aid refers to a book that we have called The 7 Lies of Attraction Marketing, where people drink the Kool-Aid. And they're just simply influenced by the wrong people. So that's why I really encourage people to always ask yourself, who is this person? Why should I be listening to them? What's their track record? Okay, they're full-time, but okay, and they've got this great team even. Okay, but look at their team. What does their team look like? Are they unified? Are they working together? Are they competing and catfighting and is it like a giant soap opera? What's really going on there? Is it a giant soap opera, or is it unity, building each other, leadership, developing leaders, getting better? Unity creates separation. When you unify your organization, you separate yourself from the masses. Unity creates separation. And that's what I believe. That's what I'm about. I know your upside potential is phenomenal, but you have to understand what you're going to run into and the questions and the challenges that you're going to be confronted with, especially in the beginning when you first get started. For all of you that have organizations and are moving forward and you're listening in tonight, I want to share a couple things with you for you guys real quick. I hope that helps you as far as, how to work with your people and being upfront and just dealing with things head on. And I hope that something resonated with you up to this point. But I need to talk about two things real quickly. And the first is for leaders. One of the most profound statements that I ever heard, and I actually read it in the book you're seeing by Bob Crisp, is that most people quit within 72 hours after they join a network marketing organization. Now, what Bob was saying was they quit emotionally and psychologically and mentally because what they do is they go out like a chicken with their head cut off many times. And the first 3 or 4 people they talked to were not encouragers or supporters. They were dream stealers. And I look back today and I am just, because I'm really, I've always analyzed the process and watched the process and watched people and watch what happens and how it happens and how do I help them stack the odds for success in their favor. I can't do it for them, but I can stack the odds for success in their favor. And I look back and I think, there but for the grace of God go I, because, I stopped on the way home from Lexington, Kentucky after I bought my $300 worth of products. I stopped at my aunt and uncle's, and I was in the nutrition business, but they had a lot of other products, and I had my little catalog. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was an Avon lady or something. I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. But I stopped at their house, and my uncle bought some foot cream from me because his foot stunk. He had stinky feet, and his wife said, "You need to get some of this foot cream," and he bought it. That was my first sale, the first person I talked to. And then I got home, and I talked my parents into giving me $25 to get a distributor kit. And my parents are extremely supportive, always have been. But I think to myself, if that hadn't been my first 2 moves, I might not have ever even got past that when I started in the industry, honestly. And so I believe as leaders, if it's true, and I believe it is, that most people quit after their first 72 hours, and if that's true, and if they just quit emotionally, psychologically, and if that is true, then as leaders, what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And once I got this lead as a leader, changed everything. When I learned how to start throwing the ball to people and wait for them to throw it back, and then throwing the ball and wait for them to throw it back. Many of you heard me talk about this many times. And literally, guys, I don't talk about stuff that I haven't experienced. I'm not one of these guys that has all the answers and never had a downline. I'm talking from experience. So the leaders are with us tonight, and I know there's a lot of you. If you've never heard on the No Fluff podcast, I think it's session maybe 13 or 14. I should have double checked, and I never got back to do that for you. But the title of it is Electrician to a Mercedes. And I want you to listen to that person's story, and I want you to listen to the first thing that I ever said to this young man. Because thankfully he came along at a time when I had already killed so many people from not providing proper direction and support. and you know, seeing the revolving door of people coming and joining and leaving, where I got to the point where I started to understand. This was after 1983, when I started to understand that we're in the leadership development business. And when they come on my team, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And I'm going to work harder for them than they're willing to work for themselves. And as long as they're willing to move forward, I'm going to move forward. As long as they're throwing the ball back, I'm going to keep on throwing it till we get them to where they want to go, to where they want to go. That's the deal, guys. That's the real game here. And I just want to encourage you to listen to that. It's electrician to Mercedes. Guy talks more country than I do, if you can believe that. But it's worth hearing. And when you listen to it, I want you to listen for one thing as you're listening. When he says, this is the first thing Dale Calvert ever said to me. And the story is phenomenal because it will give you a awesome insight into what being a student is. Because great leaders are first great followers. Great teachers are first great students. And a lot of people, again, if you enter this industry, I'm just going to do it with what I came here for, what I came here with. I'm just going to go out and do it. I'm not going to become a student. I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to implement what I learn. Well, good luck with that. It's not going to happen, guys. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. And your time is the most valuable asset that you have. You're in the leadership development business. Listen to that podcast. You can go to dalecalvert.com/no fluff. It'll bring up the different episodes. Again, I think it was episode 13 or 14. It's called Electrician to Mercedes. And what you're listening for is the first words that ever came out of my mouth to this young man. Next thing I want to talk to leaders about real quickly is 90 days. I believe in the 90-day spurt, then most people hit their first slump. And leaders, my question is, what is your slump indicator? What is your slump indicator on your team? What is your slump indicator? If you've been here for a while, you've heard me talk about this multiple times. And then my second question is, what do you do about it? You know, I talk about this in detail, MLMretention.com. It's not just about getting them in, it's about keeping them in and helping them move forward. And people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And you got to be willing to play ball with people and work with them and stay with them and understand that the odds are in their first 90 days, they're going to hit a slump, no matter how fast and excited they are when they start. And you have to get to them. You have to be there when that first slump hits. So my question again is, what is your indicator, and then what do you do about it? What is your indicator, and what do you do about it? And again, I talk about this in great detail in many other webinars, but I just needed to remind you guys tonight of those two things. Start them right. Throw the ball to them. Start playing ball. All you're looking for is, do they have the ability to fall and get back up? Zig Ziglar said, the only difference between a big shot and a little shot is a big shot's a little shot that kept shooting. And that's all you want to know. Can they keep shooting? And if they can, that means they're not a 70%er and they're worth all the time, energy, and effort that you put into them. That's your indicator, guys. Can they fall and get back up? Some of you have heard me say, the only reason to sponsor somebody is to eliminate them. And I'm not being harsh, but you've got a multi-million-dollar business to build, and you're not going to build it with people that you have to constantly burp and diaper. You're just not going to. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just trying to be real. Again, because if you're listening to me, your goal is not sponsor 3 so yours is free. That's not your goal, or you wouldn't be on this webinar, and you certainly wouldn't have made it as far as you have tonight. One more thing, then we're going to wrap it up. And this is for new people. I want to go back to you, brand new people. I wanted to share this with you. And I call it time and money. And this is this is a vision, and I'm sorry for my terrible hint, I have no graphic capabilities, and I am not a very good, I can't draw very well. Here's how this business works. And we've all heard that what are the numbers that 93% of businesses fail in the first 5 years or something like that. We all know that. And again, going back to what we originally talked about, the beautiful thing about network marketing is also the challenging thing about network marketing is you can start for a few $100s, and that's awesome, because think about the people that invested their life savings and everything they could beg and borrow and start a little franchise, and they're sitting in a mall waiting for somebody to come by and buy some cookies from them, and their employees that they do have, if they're able to have employees, are making more than they are, and their employees are probably making minimum wage. Guys, y'all have heard, seen all those horror stories. Okay, that's not what this is about. Learn while you earn while you learn. Learn the right 5 core fundamentals. Work towards developing leaders, becoming a leader. You're in the leadership development business. From an income standpoint, in this profession, in the first year, you're going to put in all this time, and this is going to be your money. This is typically with most compensation plans in most companies, okay? I'm just giving you a general overview here. Okay, now, and what I'm telling you is this little bit of money that you made, you got to put it right back into your business if you're smart. The second year, you work all this time and you make this much money, about double what you normally did. And if you're smart, if you're not full-time, you want to be full-time, you're putting it all back into personal growth, personal development, and growing your business. Then finally, after about 3 years, you work really hard again, but your money that you're making is worth the time that you put in. It's pretty good exchange. By your 4th year, your income and direct to your time is like right here. It's like, you look at the time that you're putting in and the money you're making is unbelievable. And then you get to a point where your time income ratios are just totally out of balance. Totally out of balance. Now, again, it took me longer than 5 years to get it totally out of balance. But man, when it got there, it really got there. And that's awesome. That's phenomenal. Now, what we try to do and what you need to do as a leader, and what I believe all of you that are with me every week, what I believe, what I know you can do is when you start somebody and you implement some of the things that we've talked about, for the last year or so, or been talking about since 1983, that you can start people where the first year it's a good balance. Their first year, the time they put in versus the money, the return that they received income-wise is a good exchange, because you're going to help them through. First of all, you're going to help them start right. You're going to understand the first 72 hours, how critical they are, that you have to start playing ball with them. You're going to know that in the first 90 days, they're probably going to hit a slump, and you already know what activates that in your system, that hey, they're probably in a slump, and what you're going to do about it. And guys, this whole business, it's predictable. It's predictable. I can't tell you what one person will do, but I can tell you what 99 out of 100 will do. The real product in this business is people, human nature, and human nature is extremely predictable. Most people don't even understand themselves, much less other people. And that's why we try to communicate. Quit reading books on vitamins and minerals and herbs and the ingredients, the terrible ingredients in household products. And if you want to build a team, start reading books on leadership and people, understanding people, understanding human nature. So you can start people here, and then they'll go here a lot quicker. So some of you, your sponsor, your upline invited you to be with us tonight. They're probably going to get you right here from day one. they have the ability to do that, or they probably wouldn't have invited you to be with us tonight. See, some people I know listen to me every week. They're lurkers, and they would, and some people have thousands of people on their team, and they listen to me every week. And the last thing in the world they would ever do is invite somebody on their team to be on this webinar because they have an Elvis complex. They want to be Elvis. And don't think I don't know who you are. I do. And that's okay. And yes, there's one guy that's here every week, and then well, I'm not going to go there. You know who you are, but I want you to know I do as well. I don't, you can hang out all day long because honestly, where I'm coming from with this, you can be Elvis all you want to be. That's cool. That's fine with me because honestly, I don't really care that I'm the one that shares this information. What really matters to me is that it gets shared, that it gets out there, because we're in an industry that's totally fragmented, and we have to return to the roots of what this business really is about. The industry needs it desperately, desperately. Last thing I wanted to show, one of the last things, if this is your first time, say, Dale, you've talked about a lot of this stuff. Well, what do I need to, and I've given you DaleCalvert.com/core. That would be the first webinar I would recommend. This would be the second. It's the road to a full-time income, the road to $10,000 a month in network marketing. Guys, this is so predictable. I'm telling you, this path, I mean, once you really get engaged correctly and you get in the flow of your business, this is going to be the road. Now, some people kind of stay in a whirlpool for years before they ever really get engaged, take the correct actions and responsibility. But once you really get plugged into it, this is the road. It's right there in front of you. It's predictable. I've watched thousands of people come down this road, literally thousands. And that's the road. And that's how you get to full-time income, DaleCalvert.com/the road. Last thing, one of the last things, I talked about this course. There's the URL, MLM Scam 2, the numeral 2. I know some of you are listening on audio. It's MLM Scam, SCAM 2, like 2.0, MLM Scam, the numeral 2.com. And it's free. There's no, I mean, it's just free. It's just the message that needs to be in the marketplace. There it is. I'm going to promote this hard over the next few months because it's just the people that have gone through it already that didn't know me or there. I had one guy sent me and he said, my upline told me not to listen to your stuff because you're old school. You're old school. I said, really? I said, that's cool. How long's my upline has been in the business for 27 years. I said, it's awesome. How long have they been full-time? Well, they're not full-time right at the present moment. What? No, they're not full-time at the present moment. What are they doing? And I'm not going to say what he's doing because it might give the person's name away. And I said, okay. I said, well, that's cool. I said, you can listen to somebody that's been around 27 years and not full-time, never made a full-time income, or you can listen to somebody that's helped a lot more people make 5, 6, and 7-figure a year incomes than any modern day trainer, coach, guru in the world. It's up to you. Well, when you put it that way, Mr. Calvert, maybe I should go through the scam. It's up to you, guy. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. Up to you. It's up to you. It's your business. You're building your business, or you're even, but if you like the social club aspect of network marketing and you're afraid this guy might find out that you went through Dale Calvert Scam 2.0 training, then maybe you just shouldn't go through it. Just trying to keep my sanity, guys. Trying to keep my sanity. I wanted to share this with you before I leave. I thought this was one of the most awesome quotes I've ever seen. I never saw it until this week. It's from Mahatma Gandhi. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. That gives me chills. Just gives me chills. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. That means every moment take advantage, enjoy. Wherever you are, be there. When you're with your spouse, your family, your whoever, enjoy it, take it in, be there. Wherever you are, be there. And then learn as if you were to live forever. Formal education makes you a living. If you become self-educated, you can create a fortune. You have to take the time to become self-educated to create a fortune. Okay. Is that it? Let me share this with you. Facebook.com/Dale Calvert page. And that's where you can get, there you'll see when we announce this webinar on that page. And then below that, you can get the access the overheads to tonight. I think they're already up. If they're not, they'll be up within the next 30 minutes. Dale Calvert, Facebook.com/Dale Calvert page. I know people listen on the phone and y'all have told me that, so I'm trying to slow down on the URLs. Just go to Facebook/Dale Calvert page and you can access the overheads from tonight. Lastly, I appreciate you guys more than I can express. I really do, especially those of you that leave comments on our blog and when you purchase products on Amazon or our website. And yeah, it means more than you know. It really, it keeps everything, it helps things stay balanced for me. Because like you do, if you're building a business, then you're dealing with a lot of I don't know if uncommon sense is a phrase, but you're just dealing with a lot of people that, and again, I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I understand people that, I've had a blog for 3 years and I spent $997 on Mr. So-and-so's program, and I'm part of the Blog Academy Guru Network, and 3 years and I have not sponsored one person. And that's just heart-wrenching to me. But what bothers me is when people try to put me in that same category. We provide more free content and information than anybody in the world. And in 2015, when we decided to do the webinars and the podcast and do everything that we're doing, we closed down 80% of our websites and still haven't reopened them. And it's like, I don't care, honestly, it's just, well, have facts. Look at the facts. Nobody's opinion means nothing. My opinion doesn't mean anything. I talked about this last week. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And you can just see that all over social media. Just look at the people that watch the U.S. presidential debates. And it's amazing to me. People can sit there and watch the exact same debate and have two totally different perspectives on it, not based upon what they saw, but based upon how they are. We see things not as they are. We see things as we are. So, guys, I appreciate your input, the comments that you leave on the podcast and all that. And really, it helps balance things out for me in a lot of ways. And as you guys know, Dawn and I, my wife, are involved in 3 other businesses, and we're getting ready. It's just this last quarter it's just getting crazy. So I'm just trying to maintain sanity and continue to provide value. So your comments and even your questions, all that, your input, your feedback means more than I can ever communicate to you. So I just want to sincerely thank you for that. It's been an awesome 13, 14 months, and I'm excited about the next 3 or 4 or 5 years for sure. That's it, guys. I appreciate you being with me tonight. Um,